Right, we all know United are in big trouble. The financial situation is a mess. There is some talk that there's going to be some money to spend come the summer. That's going to depend on sales. That's going to depend on a shell game with financial fair play and PSR. And it's going to revolve around making things appear better than they truly are. The facts are stark. Manchester United owe around £1 billion. We require about £2 billion to renovate or build a new stadium. And we probably, being serious, require around about another £1 billion spending on the first team. And that will just get us to competing. Because you can't spend that in one window. That's obviously going to be spread out over the next 3 or 4 seasons. And that will just about get us... That's just to catch up, not overtake. £4 billion is the number that we probably need to be bringing in. Now, ultimately, an extra £25 on my ticket or your ticket is not going to touch the sides. That 40 grand they've cut from the charity, not going to touch the sides. And the optics of doing those things, knowing they're not going to touch the sides, is terrifying. Now, there is a serious worry on the pitch that we might finish worse than any of us could have imagined. This season didn't start well. It's not started as we would have perhaps hoped under Ruben Amorim, and it could get worse. Marcus Rashford is now out on loan at Aston Villa. Lissandro Martinez is sidelined with a serious injury. His 2025 looks like it could be over. Luke Shaw's got injured again. I think I'm fitter than him at this point. We are in trouble in terms of the people we can get out onto the pitch. We have 3 senior forwards in the team. 3. It's absolutely mental. Malacia and Anthony have gone out on loan. And as much as you go, well, it doesn't really matter, they were featuring. We have got a harrowing number of players in each position. There's 4 fit centre-halves. Harry Maguire, Matthias de Ligt, Lenny Euro, and Aiden Heaven. You've got the likes of Lindelof, who's clearly not fancied. Johnny Evans, maybe. That's a lot to ask of a team that plays with 3 centre-halves every single week. In midfield, Mason Mount is injured. You've got a declining and clearly unfancied Christian Eriksen, a clearly unfancied Casemiro, leaving us with Bruno Fernandes, Ugarte, Menu, and Toby Collier. In attack, Højlund, Xerxes, Ahmad, and Garnacho, I guess, up 4. Wing back, yes, you've just brought in Dorgu, but Mazraoui and Dalot also featuring there. I think Mazraoui might end up moved into the 6 or even at centre-half because of the situation going on at centre-half. And we're in 3 competitions. The workload is high, and we don't have the squad to compete in one of those competitions effectively, in my opinion, let alone 3. One more big injury, and this is about to get seriously, seriously ugly. And it's not a cliche at this point to say that we don't have squad depth. It's literally factual. Fighting on multiple fronts, playing games twice a week, stretched out players of players that have been run into the ground in previous seasons. And clearly loads of players that Ruben Amorim does not like. You got to ask yourself, are we good enough to withstand 3 competitions? Premier League, FA Cup, Europa League. Let's start with the league. The sooner I accept that we're probably not... Listen, I know it's early days to call this, but I don't think we're going to win the league this year. Sorry. You lose 2-0 at Crystal Palace, you find yourself 13th. The 3 teams below us, Everton, West Ham and Spurs, are all within striking distance. They better our result in the next league game. We find ourselves in 16th place. 16th. Last season, Ten Hag managed to get United's worst ever Premier League finish, and that was 8th. We might go twice as bad as that. Previously, our worst finish was 7th. Sir Alex Ferguson's worst finish was 3rd, by the way. We're currently 8 points away from 8th. 8 points off 8th. We're 11th off 7th. And like I said, we're not exactly safe in that 13th position. We are clearly capable of losing a game, and we're absolutely capable of drawing games. Better believe it. We can't score goals. And our next 5 games in the league are Tottenham, Everton, Ipswich, Arsenal, and Leicester. 2 of those fixtures are against opposition that could leapfrog us in the table. One of them is against one of the toughest teams to play in the Premier League in Arsenal at the moment. It is not great viewing. There's 14 games to go in the league. Do we have the squad depth to compete in those 14 games? No, we don't. We didn't in the summer, to be honest with you. Where do I see us finishing this season? I think no matter what happens, it will be our worst ever finish. How bad that is, I don't know. And I'm thinking there's probably been a little bit of a word to Ruben Amorim that, hey, listen, it doesn't matter where you finish this year. And I think that has to be the case, to be honest with you. Because you can't... He's not going to survive if there was any sort of requirements for where he finishes this season. There just can't be. Now, the FA Cup. Obviously, we play tonight. We've got Leicester. We should find ourselves in the FA Cup tomorrow morning still. We are last year's holders. And the contrast between our situation coming out of winning that last year in the final and this year could not be starker. Do I feel like we're capable of winning the FA Cup again this season? Weirdly, yeah. Now, I can't explain why. I can't. And I almost feel like we would be better getting the bigger teams. We have put in our best performances under Ruben Amorim against City, Liverpool, Arsenal, etc. And we struggle when it's Fulham, Rangers, Crystal Palace. I think this team is set up to do well against the better teams and doesn't have the creativity and goal scoring to just blow away those smaller teams. I think we thrive a little bit with the additional space you find yourselves having against those better teams. And we really struggle with teams that are going to go defensive first against us. So do I think we're capable of winning the FA Cup? Might surprise you because this is let's be honest, a quite negative vibed video. But yes, I do think that we've probably got a better chance of doing anything in the FA Cup than any of the other competitions. And the fact that it's only a single hit rather than the 2 legs that you get in Europe, I think also benefits us too. Would I put money on us doing it? No, I wouldn't. But I would think that dependent on the draw, like we get, I don't even know if Crystal Palace is still in it, but like you get Crystal Palace, yeah, they could knock us out. If you get Bournemouth, yeah, they could knock us out. It's actually like Liverpool, Chelsea, City, etc. that I would go, well, let's see what happens. I feel like we've got a way of playing against them that's relatively effective. If we were asked to go up against a championship team, we might struggle. I know that sounds mad. And then the Europa League. We've seemed fairly confident in the Europa League, even if and I would say the results have been better than performances. European competition is very demanding. The travel, the 2-legged nature of each tie, the squad at minimum requires depth to compete, and we don't have that depth. And there are still some fantastic sides left in this. In a single game, could I see United being successful? Yes. Over 2 legs, I don't know about that. I think that the longer we're in the Europa League, the more harmful it probably is to where we finish in the league and any chance that we had at competing in the FA Cup. And some people are saying, yeah, but the Europa League is the ticket to the Champions League. Cool. I don't think we're going to win the Europa League. I just don't think we're set up to win that. And I don't think we're going to win that. So, like, what's the point in going all the way in the distance in that, coming 13th, 14th in the league, crashing out of the FA Cup to just lose another final, if that's what we did? I think the longer you're in the Europa League, the more everything else is going to suffer. I think if you get yourself out of the Europa League, you go down to playing 1 game per week, that's when Ruben Amorim can get onto the training ground and really... And I'm not asking United to throw this. I'm not. I just don't think it's reasonable that United go beyond more than 1 or 2 more rounds. And I think when we come out, if we correctly use that time on the training pitch to focus and get him into the players and get them playing how they should be playing, you've got a fighting chance. And then turning to Carrington. The squad needs beefing up in the summer. It's an understatement, I know. But is it even possible with what the finances look like? And is there some ready-made solutions at Carrington? Now, United need to look at every single position. In defence, obviously, you've got the likes of Kokonki, you've got a Gunny, you've got Harry Amas, who could come in and feature. I'm surprised that they haven't, I'll be honest with you, so far. And as far as the depth goes, we need some work in there. Kokonki is a name that would bring a little bit of power at centre-half. A Gunny and a Mass could really come in and do some bits as wing-backs. Don't understand why they've not so far. In midfield, the likes of Dan Gore, Jim Thwaites, Sekou Kone, who hasn't really been mentioned after we brought him in, Sam Mather. These are players that could all come in and do something. They've all got confidence and ability on the ball. They're all going to have relentless desire. They all have like a bit of a good work ethic off the ball. If some of these were to come in and make cameos count, that could really, really help us towards the back end of the season. We saw Eli Harrison on the bench for the first team squad at the weekend in net. Could he get a chance? Obviously, people already know what's going on up front. Cheeto is the name everyone's talking about. He's the one getting a lot of attention. I still think there's a lot of rounding out of his game that needs to be required. And the same goes for Ibrahimov. It goes for Hugill. Are any of these going to be given a chance? No, there's potential in them. They're certainly not the finished article. I certainly wouldn't be comfortable with any of them starting games at the moment. But 10 minutes, 15 minutes, is it really that bad of an idea to give them an opportunity? Are they getting 90s in training to show what they can do? No, all of those players are at Manchester United because they've got qualities, and they're all not featuring because they're missing some qualities. Can we select the ones that have got the deficiencies that we're more capable of covering up for and give them opportunities to see if their qualities can actually carry us somewhere? I know it's a lot to ask for a group of youngsters to come through and make it work from the off. But Manchester United's kind of built on that. And at the moment, I don't see what other choice you have. If you do not call up any of them players between now and the end of the season and we go relatively far in the cup competitions, you're going to crucify the squad ahead of next year. So are we doomed? I mean, this club's come through a lot worse. It's rough at the moment. And I think this season's going to end horrendously. I think the summer is such an enormous window. I feel like, and I don't know if I'm projecting this and I'm hoping that this is the case, but I feel like the conservatism that we saw from Manchester United's board in January is because we're saving it up to go absolutely turbo in the summer and really back this guy. Now, if that turns out not to be the case, yeah, we're doomed. And I don't know if I'm deluded into thinking that the best case scenario is about to happen come summer or what. I guess we'll have to see. But I am keen to know your thoughts. Please give us your thoughts in the comments below. Enjoy the game tonight. I'll be with you afterwards for a review. I'll see you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.